welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please hit that great big subscribe button now. Hit that bell icon down below so you get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button as we go along on this video if you enjoy it. Hello, Michael. So I'm live streaming early tonight because I'm really, really sleepy. And it was a case of either I do it now or I sleep for like a couple of hours and then wake up again and do the live stream. So that was a very difficult decision. I didn't know what to do. So I decided to make this video about self-care because that's what I'm having to do at the moment. I'm having to take some time out to go to sleep earlier than I would usually do. I mean, it's madness. It's just after 9, but you know what happened obviously with Chestnut. I lost my Chestnut over a week ago. That was really upsetting, and then I pretty much was crying for 12 hours, which was really good for me to do that because I got most of my upset out. However, as you know, with grief and things like that, when you lose a loved one, whether it's a furry kid or a human, then it can take its toll. You know, you can still feel upset afterwards. So although I'm mostly all right most of the time, you know, last night I was crying a bit as I went to sleep. So it's been really difficult, you know. I'm going to start getting upset now because I made the decision for her to go in for surgery. So it's been kind of hard. But I made the decision based on what the vet said about the fact that she was losing weight due to the ovarian cysts. So, yeah, that's been pretty tough. And I was going to give myself a whole... As you can hear, my throat still isn't right. I'm losing my voice. So, you know, I was meant to have a whole day of sleep on Wednesday because I had my guinea pig die on Thursday, and then I had the asexual meetup, the official meetup on Sunday, and I had a provisional meetup the night before on the Saturday night, and I saw one of my friends on the Friday afternoon, so I hadn't really had much time, you know. I mean, I grieved, like, as you know, I cried for the majority of 12 hours, which is good. But after that, like 5 hours later, with the asexual meetup, it was great because I was around asexual friends for like, you know, over a period of 5 days in the end, well, 4 days in the morning. So it was really, really good. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was great for me. But obviously now my friends have gone back to where they live. It's, you know, I've been talking to my mum more about what happened with Chestnut, and that's been quite hard. So I just wanted to do this video and say, you know, hi Andy, nice to see you. So I just wanted to do this video to say, you know, sometimes you have to just take time out for yourself, you know. I do wish my asexual friends were here still, but they can't be here forever, unfortunately, in person. And you know, I've been playing catch up with social media work that I have to do and preparing for Black Friday. I should have prepared for Black Friday a long time ago. So as you probably know, when you saw my last video, I was literally reducing my t-shirts, so people could have a good bargain for Christmas. I spent ages doing that, hours doing that for Amazon UK, Amazon.com, because with Amazon I have to manually do everything. Like on Redbubble, they just literally take all the discount off. So if you're looking for a t-shirt or anything else, if you click the link down below, there's actually 20% off all my Redbubble shops. So if you're looking for any, you know, merchandise, a link to my Redbubble shops down below. And if you go on Amazon UK, you can just type in asexualized and my shop should appear. But in the Amazon USA, I don't know what's gone on, but for some reason I can't even get my shop page up. So I have to try and individually find my teas. But so it's taken me ages to do all that. You know, it takes a very long time, and I've got asexual journals. If you type in asexual journal on Amazon, you should see a lot of my designs that come up. I'm on my bed at the moment, so if this is a bit wobbly, you know why, because my iPad, I'm kind of moving around with the bed. So yeah, I took ages doing that, so I spent hours, and I've been doing other stuff for Black Friday that's to do with other business, not to do with asexual stuff, because I really need to be working more on my Quirky Academy stuff, which is entrepreneurial stuff, like now and in the future, because I need to start focusing on that as part of my main income. So I've been trying to do stuff to do that, but obviously, you know, like when Black Friday's already here and you're still trying to do stuff for it, it's not very good, is it? But you know, I just have to think to myself that, you know, a lot's happened, a lot's gone on. My mind wasn't really on it. So when you're having self-care, you've got to just be really kind to yourself and loving, really. You know, I mean, I talk a lot about relationships and dating on this channel, but the most important relationship is with yourself, because you've got to live with yourself day in, day out. And if that relationship's suffering in some way, or you're not quite taking care of yourself as you should be, or you need a break, or you need some sleep, or you need some rest, or you just need some good self-talk, then yeah, it's good for you to just take time out to do that, you know. So last night's video I was quite sleepy on. Tonight's I'm quite sleepy on. I know a video I want to do, but I'm going to make sure I'm a bit more awake to do that one. It's one of the people in my group, they were asking, they were saying they didn't know the difference between hanging out and dating. So I am going to be doing a video about that. I think I've spoke about this before in other videos, but I'm going to be doing a video specifically about that. You know, what is basically the difference between hanging out with someone and having a date with someone. And I'm not going to go into it now because, I mean, there are a few things. I thought about doing that video tonight because I do know a lot of it off the top of my head. But I think I want to be a little bit more awake, and I want it to be a longer video so I can really, you know, discuss all about it. So this video is going to be a lot shorter tonight because I am feeling really sleepy and I do need to look after myself. But I always like to, like, you know, video for you guys. It's really important. And also I am a bit upset. So I've been upset about Chestnut last night. I was crying a bit when I went to sleep. So that was quite hard. But also I'm upset about Article 13, if I'm honest. You know, when I found out that this channel could be discontinued next year due to the fact if the Article 13's bill's passed, you know, that really upset me. I didn't know anything about that. It's like, I love this channel, you know, it makes me empowered and it makes me feel great, and it keeps me in touch with, you know, people that matter to me. And also it helps me to help other asexuals, you know. I mean, I've only got about 380 subscribers, but I've actually got over 44,000 views on this channel. And I think over 10,000 of that's been since July this year when I've been live streaming. So, you know, even though a lot of people don't, you know, subscribe, I think that's due in part to people think that, you know, if they have their settings on public with YouTube, then obviously people are going to see this channel and see they're subscribed to it, which they don't want their friends and family to see that. You can put it on privacy, but they might want to not have it on privacy because they might want to like other stuff and not care what people think about that, you know? And I think some people obviously are sexual and they come on the channel and they don't realise what it's about. But even so, it's just nice to educate people about asexuality, whether they subscribe to me or not. I'm not, you know, I don't think it's quality. To me, it's quality subscribers that count. And it's also spreading the awareness of asexuality, you know. So it's really important to me. But, you know, I'm a bit upset about it, to be honest, because I've got another 2 channels, and one of them, I don't video chat as much as I should on there. In fact, I need to do a video. And I haven't actually announced on that channel, which I've had a lot longer, that Chestnut's died. I have on my blog that goes with the channel, my Quirky Books TV channel it is, that goes with my Quirky Books blog, but I haven't actually announced on that channel because I've been, like, last night I was dwelling on that, I think, and that's what made me a bit upset. So, you know, I think I just need to have a lot of sleep, to feel energized again. Usually, like, I like to, like, work through the night and sleep in the day, but as I've not been sleeping in the day, it means I can't work through the night, because usually that sleeps me up much better. But I've been trying to get into a routine since the asexual meetups of me getting up at like 8 o'clock. I got up at 8:30 today, but I mean, for the meetups I got up even earlier than that. But I kind of feel like I should get into a good habit, well, as the majority would see it, of getting up early so I start my day on time, if you know what I mean. But to be honest, a lot of the time it just doesn't really work for me. You know, if I'm doing loads of online stuff, you know, it's like I'm really sleepy and tired now. So it's like I'm literally been falling asleep at my desk nearly and trying to keep my eyes open. I feel like I'm trying to hold them up with matchsticks. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, in the past it was like this. Sometimes I would do so much work, but obviously because I've been live streaming, every night, and I've been doing all my asexual stuff, and I've been focusing on that. I haven't been focusing on other business stuff. I've kind of left that. I'm always working late until the early morning. Oh, that's great, Michael. That's really good. Yeah, I prefer it, to be honest, because like now I'm really tired. Whereas if I sleep in the day and I feel refreshed, and then I'm up, I'm lively to do my live streams. Whereas right now I just feel like I'm partly in a daze, which is not good. So I think I'm gonna have to go back to like the way that suits me best, to be honest with you. I mean, a lot of my following is in America as well, and if I go to sleep in the day and wake up at night, then I'm kind of like in line with the people who follow me anyway. So it's just that I know that in terms of professional development, personal development, they say it's good to get into a good habit of setting your alarm and getting up at the same time every day, but it just obviously doesn't really work for me. I mean, I am different anyway. I don't like to do the same thing as everyone else, but I wanted to maximize my work hours. You know what I mean? Like try and get some other stuff, because obviously, I need to start doing more stuff with entrepreneurial stuff. Like I said, as much as I love doing all the asexual stuff, that I don't, I'm making a few quid with t-shirts and books. It's not gonna like keep a roof over my head. So I've got to be looking to do other things, and that means dedicating a proportion of my time to to do other things. But when I'm doing so much asexual stuff, it's kind of hard to be able to fit anything else in anymore, because I'm so dedicated to doing asexual stuff. It's kind of really hard. I'm kind of pushing myself more and more, and I have been focusing a lot today. And I think when you focus on stuff, it takes a lot more energy out of you. So sometimes can get distracted. Concentration can go in. I've been doing a lot of personal and professional development, ongoing stuff, and one of the things I learned recently is to focus on just one thing, which is what I try and do each day, which is good for your self-care, to focus on one thing at once, because otherwise you can feel overwhelmed. And also, if you want to practice concentration, because a lot of us get distracted, don't we, especially with all the social media stuff, is if you want to practice concentration, is to just focus on one thing. But obviously when you are focusing intensely on one particular thing, then it's more tiring. So I created, between yesterday and today, I've decided I'm doing these social media packs. So what happens with a lot of entrepreneurs is they need quotes and things for their social media. And I absolutely love putting together quotes. If you see my asexualized Facebook page and my other pages, I put together quotes and stuff. And, I like doing creative stuff. So I thought I'd like to be able to make them for other people as part of packs, so they can download them each month, or just like separate packs, because I think it can help them in their business. And they can help me because I love doing creative stuff. I don't want to do like a normal job, if you know what I mean, office job and stuff, because I was made redundant last year and I have to be thinking of other stuff I need to do, because I was doing the asexual stuff on weekends and evenings and on days off. But obviously I need to replace my full-time income with other income, which means that the majority of those hours have been spent doing asexual stuff. But now I need to be looked to be doing other stuff, especially if this channel does disappear. It's quite shocked me, really, thinking about that. So that's been quite difficult. So, yeah, I mean, when you're looking into self-care, you obviously have to put yourself first. And it's hard when you're a caring person, because, you do spend a lot of your energy around other people and helping other people because it's important to you. And sometimes helping other people really energizes you. Yeah, it makes you feel great. It's just if you stretch yourself too much and you're trying to do 55 things at once, it's not good. So it's good just to do like one thing at a time. But even if you do one thing at a time, you still might have a pile of stuff to do, if you know what I mean. So you play catch up. So it can be quite hard. So the best thing to do, obviously, to self-care is to take time out if you need it, to rest or to recuperate, to give yourself a break. So, I've got to tell myself now that it's okay for me to start lying in more and, work later on, because it obviously suits me a lot better. Plus, I need, when you're working full-time, usually you get 1 or 2 days off a week, which I haven't had actually. You do a lot to help others. Got to look after yourself too. Thank you, Andy. Yeah. Thank you. It's really important, isn't it? Yeah, that's why I wanted to do this video, really. Because I think a lot of people, there's not just me, but a lot of people that help other people, and I think they neglect themselves sometimes, or they just, it can make you a bit infuriated when you're kind of like, like if you're not doing everything you usually do, or you feel like you can't, you have to be doing other stuff. It can be quite infuriating, but you kind of just got to accept it. It's like with Chestnut, obviously, when you've lost a loved one, in this case a furry kid, grief can, zap your energy as well. So it's important to like, maintain as much energy as you can, and to just think, it is what it is. It's not more than it is, not less than it is. It is what it is. That's what I've been telling myself. The best thing to do is to coach yourself in life, and tell yourself, it is what it is. I mean, there's nothing I could do about Chestnut. She's gone. It's a fact. It's just hard to come to terms with a little bit more recently, because it's like I really, like it's hard because the things didn't make sense. The timings didn't. Things didn't add up. And when I went in to speak to the vet, I spoke to the woman on reception who told me, well, she was the one who found Chestnut in a in not a good way. And she goes, oh, I don't know how much I'm allowed to tell you. When someone says that, stuff's up, really. There's stuff they're not quite saying about what really went on. And just the timings are really upsetting, because, if I phoned and she was having a operation, second operation, theoretically, well, according to them at 5:30 when I phoned up, when I went to pick her up, I phoned up to see when to pick her up. If she was having her operation then, the 5:30, because she was bleeding, and we didn't get out till gone 8. Do you know what I mean? It's like, does that mean she was bleeding to death for 2.5, 3 hours? Do you know what I mean? And that's quite a shocking thing to think. But when we got her home, she was really warm, like she just died. And we didn't get her home to my parents till nearly 9. So, well, I think it was like between 8:30 and 9, because she was buried around 9 something. So, yeah, so it's hard to think of your little baby like possibly bleeding to death for 2.5, 3 hours. I don't know what they did. I don't know where the vet couldn't find out where she was bleeding. I don't know if he stitched her back up. I don't know what he did. I mean, if he couldn't find it, and I phoned at 5:30 and I'm not getting out with her body till after 8, it's a long time. And that's what's really upsetting, I mean, he admits she bled to death because he couldn't find it, and I just think that's really sad. So, grief, you can have grief after effects, because you can be thinking, it's not just about what if, it's like, well, what did happen, what actually went off. And I was talking to my mum yesterday, and actually on Chestnut's notes, there's no indication she actually had surgery. They've left that all off her records, so it seems like they haven't charged me at all for her operation, just for all the anaesthetic injections beforehand. But obviously it doesn't show how much anaesthetic she had. It's got all angel stuff on there, but on Chestnut's it's blank. There's only a few things on Chestnuts. There's no anaesthetic, there's no operation, there's no nothing written down, so you don't actually know what's gone on. And so although this is a self-care video, I guess this is also, one of the things to do with self-care is getting out of your mind sort of like what's going on in it, Sometimes it's good to write it down. Sometimes it's good to talk to friends and family. Sometimes you just kind of like, mull things over in your head yourself, and that's what's upsetting. I didn't say too much at the time because I can talk about it now without completely breaking down in tears, but it is hard. And it's like, dealing with the aftermath of stuff like that, where the circumstances aren't normal really, because bleeding to death of a piggy is not nice, and she didn't look like she was in pain when I saw her body, but it's just really hard. It's hard circumstances. And I think people don't realise how hard it is to actually have energy in life. Like I was, some of the personal professional development stuff I do, like a lot of it is YouTube videos as well by people who are, quite well known in their sort of arena. And this guy who's a monk, he said, we don't have a limited amount of energy. It's not an infinite amount. So we have to be careful with our energy, like make sure that we're around positive people as much as possible, people who don't drain our energy, But it also means about circumstance, it means like trying to put yourself in happy places and happy states, and I am happy in lots of ways with my life because my life is great in lots of ways. I've got a roof over my head, I've got food in my belly, although I need to go out shopping. I've got, a beautiful flat I lived in for years. I've got like a throwover from Disneyland Paris. I've got, it's really good when you're doing self-care to do either a gratitude list or, speak aloud things you're grateful for, because when you're not so happy or thinking about unhappy things or things that are not so nice, is part of your self-care is to try and list all the things you're grateful for, all the things you appreciate, list some good things in life, because when you're listing good things in life and you're reminding yourself, then you're not going to slip into a depression. So I used to be depressed years ago and I'm not going there again. But it's okay to still be upset or unhappy sometimes. Depression is depression is when you're like that all the time and you feel you can't get out of it. But that doesn't mean to say that when you're out of depression, you can't actually have sad days or be upset, because of course you can. It's a natural part of life, especially if you have had grief or trauma, and losing my little one is very traumatic, and that's not good for the body, and that does drain you and make you tighter. So, if you've gone through grief or upset or pain, try and counteract that as much as possible with lots of, like things you're grateful for and thankful for, focusing on the positive, and also plowing your time and energies into productive stuff. So I think I just mentioned this video that I've been doing social media packs for people, for entrepreneurs, but I don't know if I actually said exactly how many images I created. I created 31 times 4 images for 4 different platforms, and it's like, that's like 124 images. I started yesterday and did the rest today. I only did like about half. Well, I did 13 yesterday, and there's 31 days. I've done 31 of it. So you can tell I've done over the half today. And that is a lot, because when I'm doing images with quotes, I'm thinking of the images and if they go with the quotes, and also if the font's okay, if it's the right colour to go with the colour background. And it takes me a long time. So I've got to try and simplify the process, really. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to take me hours, and I have other things to do as well. So, this is really important to just like take time out for you, practice gratitude, practice what you appreciate, get some sleep and rest, positive self-talk as much as possible. I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't my fault that Chestnut, died in surgery. I wasn't to know she was going to die. I was a bit apprehensive about taking her because the guy said she's got an 80% chance. Like, they both had an 80% chance of living, which the head vet's never said that. But I thought the head vet was doing the operation in the end, but he wasn't. But he did supervise them both, he said. Supervised both the operations. Angel's a lot better now. I've been phoning my mum every day, keeping in touch with my mum. So my mum went into hospital my mum went to hospital today, but that was for a checkup. So my mum has diabetes and problems with her eyes and stuff. So she has to, so I'm obviously get concerned about my mum, but she's good. Apart from her eyes are having a few problems, so she's had some tests today, further tests. My mum's had laser eye surgery, but she's still got some issues. She has a rare condition called uveitis iris, which affects her kidneys as well, so she's got to be really careful. She had kidney failure in 2010, and thank God she's still with me. She had a keyhole surgery, I think it was, really quickly. I didn't know anything about it. So yeah, I think, when you've got a lot going on in your life, when you've got like things, worries, concerns, trauma happening and things like that, it's kind of good to just take time out for you, rest, recuperate, look after you. And, it's like at the moment, I'm not even thinking about dating and relationships again, which is good, I think, for me. It's kind of good not to think about that sometimes, because it can get a bit obsessive sometimes, and then it can get a bit too much. Like, there was a guy, I think I told you, on meetup.com. There's one guy on meetup.com who's great. He's asexual and messages me huge long emails. So I reply when I can. And there's another guy on there I told you about a while ago, and he was like foreign, but he's not asexual. And I told you, I think he thought I think he thought, I don't know what he thought, but he obviously didn't really understand asexuality. He's in the Bristol asexual meetup group, if you remember. There's quite a few of them that aren't really asexual in there. And this particular guy, I said I do like kissing and all that type of thing. So he was on about meeting up for kissing. And then he was on about being discreet. And I'm thinking, what does this guy actually think I mean, you know? Anyway, I didn't really intend to talk to him again. And then he started messaging me just asking how I was and stuff. But he was the one who said connect on Facebook. And I decided he wasn't right. So I didn't, and there was a few by his name on there. So I didn't connect with him. And I thought, you know, if he's that bothered, he should connect with me. And I said, you know, connect with me. And then if you don't, I'll understand that we're not suitable for a relationship because we both want different things. But he kept replying to me. Like yesterday, I found another message from him saying, hey, Sandra, how are you? But he's so ignorant because the last message I sent, he repeated the message again to me when I'd already told him my chestnut was not well. And he's not a good guy because instead of saying in his last message, show what happened with Chestnut, he didn't. All he kept saying was the same silly thing like, oh, so how are you? Kiss, kiss. I can't stand guys like that. If you've ever got a guy and they're unempathetic, it usually is a sign of narcissism. Sorry to be very blunt, but I mean, obviously some illnesses could cause that as well. But the majority of the time, you know, like some people who have autism, for example, sometimes they lack some empathy in some ways, but it's not because they intend to be like that. Do you see what I mean? There's a difference. But some other people, they lack empathy because they're narcissists. So obviously, if you don't know a person, you don't know which they are. But if you know someone's not autistic, then if someone's like, you know, like most people, but most people, you know, who are autistic, if you've lost a pet, they would say, I'm really sorry to hear that. Do you know what I mean? Whereas a narcissist, they don't say anything like that. And this guy, you know, I told him my chestnut was, you know, very ill and she was going in for surgery. And he didn't even say anything to that. And I don't like that. There was a guy who's on one of the asexual dating sites, asexuality.com, who lives in Bristol. Surprise, surprise. And I Skyped him for about 7 hours and he's a narcissist because when I was talking to him, he had no empathy for what I was saying whatsoever about my past trauma. And he actually took the side of an abuser. I couldn't believe it. And I think you're lock, stock and barrel a typical narcissist. You know, he had no empathy, no sympathy for my past trauma, and then started saying, well, you know, I feel sorry for abusers, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? When people say stuff like that, and in the way he said it, it means they're going to be a narcissistic abuser themselves. That's what it means. Clearly, he had the traits of a narcissist. And to all intents and purposes, he lied about his age. He told me he lied about it blatantly. He was like 4 or 5 years younger than he's got on his profile, he told me. And also, yeah, he was much more sexual. And he's best friends with this woman who was getting married, but they were doing intimate stuff together. I just thought, nah, he's off my Skype list now. Anyway, this guy on meetup.com that's not really asexual, my last message to him last night was, I don't think there's any point in having any further communication because clearly we're different people and want different things. And then I checked it later on and he hadn't replied. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in having any type of friendship or relationship with a guy who can't even show any sympathy or empathy for someone losing a loved one, a pet, or, you know. I can't be doing with someone like that, you know? I just can't. You know, I couldn't believe it. I mean, he kept asking, like I said, saying the same thing, like, how are you? It's like, well, if you're not going to have a proper conversation with me and actually engage and say, well, I've been doing this today or I've been doing that and tell me about your life, and all you want is a mediocre conversation about, hi, how are you? I'm fine. Hi, how are you? I'm fine. Do you know what I mean? It's like, he said, oh, hi, how are you? What are you doing this weekend? With the 2 kisses. I'm like, well, I'm working. And then I said there's no point in being in contact anymore. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I don't understand why people, if you've lost a loved one or pet, I don't understand why people don't just say, you know, I'm sorry to hear that. Or if a pet or loved one, is in hospital or not very well, it's just a polite and caring to say, well, I hope they feel better soon. Hope everything is going to be okay. Obviously you can't speak to everyone and answer everyone. There's a lot of stuff that goes on Facebook, and you can't be, when you're taking care of yourself, you can't be messaging every single person that has a problem or issue, for example, on Facebook. But when you're having private conversation and you're specifically talking to the person, just you and them, like he was to me, there's no point in he's got plenty of time if he's going to speak to me anyway to say something like that. I'm sorry to hear about Chestnut. How did it go? I mean, I'm in touch with another asexual who follows me all over social media, has done for years. And he just recently connected with me on ASAP. He says, "Oh, you're here, Sandra, as well. You're everywhere." And even he said about, he's a really busy guy. I know he is because one of my friends is really quite close to him. And, he said to me, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear about Chestnut. That's not nice for you." And, yeah, so, he only, it just takes like 2 minutes to write something back like that if you're already in the middle of a conversation. So obviously, this is a self-care video. I'm not saying that, you can actually message everyone in the world. I'm just talking about if you're already in the middle of a conversation with someone, like be it by email or be it by like messenger, if you're in the middle of, there might be something that crops up that you actually forget to say something, like no one's infallible, no one's perfect. But if you're not having much conversation, it's pretty obvious in this guy's case that, I only said like a couple of sentences, and one was that Chestnut was very well. It's pretty obvious he should say something. So, he's just after sex, basically. Or private kissing, whatever, And to fulfill his own ego. That's why some of them as well, they do stay talking to you. Because they want to fulfill their own ego. They want you to talk to them when they're bored. And because I said he was good looking, I found that not a lot of foreign guys get many people saying they're good looking, if from British people and stuff like that. So I find that if you say that to them, kind of fills some of their ego up. Some, the ones that are ungenuine, the ones that lack, the ones that lack self-esteem, really. The ones that lack, what can I say? Personality in a personality with depth to it and character. So yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap up because I think I've spoken a lot. I'm just gonna go through a few of the things again in case you missed the rest of this video, because I know there's been people joining me off and on. So in terms of self-care, obviously, you can't, if you need time out from social media, go and do that. If you need time to rest, go and do that. If you need extra sleep, go and do that. Remember, lots of positive self-talk as much as possible. Be your own coach. Focus on being grateful for what you do have in this moment, right here, right now, even if your life isn't as good as it could be or you want it to be. Remember to be very grateful. Appreciate the things you do have, especially when something happens like that with Chestnut. It's like, it just makes you thankful and grateful for everyone that is in your life and alive. I've said this before, but I still don't understand why someone like that wants with an asexual. You think they'd want someone very sexual in that case. Yeah, Michael, I don't mind talking about that for a bit. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think, in part, sexuals get lonely. But I think the rest of it is to, like in that guy's case, to fulfill their own ego. I think whether or not he was saying to me, "What am I doing this weekend?" because he was interested in coming to see me this weekend, I don't know. But I still don't think, I still don't think they get it. I don't. I know there's a lot of people that go on dating sites and do dating stuff, sorry, just to fulfill their own ego. They feel so bored with their life, so insecure, so, like, lonely, I guess, some of them, that, I'm not saying, like, lots of people feel lonely, but, like, I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not saying to feel lonely is bad in and of itself. I'm just saying that a lot of sexuals, I think, when they're bored or lonely, they tend to talk to asexuals because they like the attention and it boosts their ego up, I learned a lot about online dating and dating in general for the last over a year and a half now. And a lot of dating is based on ego, sadly. That's why so many people are on so many sexuals on sexual dating sites. They're on there just talking to woman after woman after woman because it makes them feel so good that they've got all this attention, even if it is fake, a lot of it, even if it is superficial. They feel it makes them good because, like, someone's paying them attention rather than them actually taking a lot of courage and sticking to one person and actually working hard to make a relationship work. They want to take the easy way out and just have loads of people like it, attention on them with no real intention to actually ever have a relationship because they'd rather just have tons of people after them because it makes them feel great about themselves, even though they don't realise that in years to come, that loneliness and that sort of void of a relationship and all that sort of behind the computer screens, that's not gonna, when they're a lot older, they're going to realise that actually they do want someone in person, and a lot of them, and they're going to realise that, well, maybe now it's time to get a bit serious. But really, they should have been getting serious a long time ago and building something special with someone. Not waiting that they're so old that they can't find anyone anymore, or not waiting so old that they've got such bad habits of relationships that it's going to be hard for them to change it. I mean, obviously you can have a relationship at absolutely any age. And doesn't matter whether you're 70s, 80s, 90s, or whatever you are, Some people, like, get married in their 70s or 80s, There's nothing wrong with that. But I just think it's very sad when a lot of these sexuals, in particular, they don't, they'll seem to spend years and waste their life over trying to get the attention of tons of people rather than actually working on themselves, their own personal professional development, try and improve themselves as a person, so that when they do have a relationship, they're a better person for that other person and for themselves, if you know what I mean. Like, unless you're developing and growing yourself, you're just staying stagnant. Do you know what I mean? I try and develop and grow myself as much as possible, but I do need to take a bit better care of my health. As you can see, my chest, I'm not coughing up much anymore, but my chest and throat, you can see it's still not right. And I had a sore throat again today. So I think it's because I'm a bit run down with everything, with all the stress and stuff, probably, of the grief and, and I just think, it's because obviously when you've been made redundant as well, redundancy in the UK, by the way, means laid off, like if you're in the USA, it's called something different. Well, it's called laid off usually in the USA, but if it's in the UK, redundant, means that you've actually lost your job, not due to anything you've done, but because they're downsizing the company or whatever. So, I haven't been working for a year in an employed job. I have self-employed as a writer and t-shirt designer, but obviously that doesn't pay the bills. So it's kind of like really, when you're made redundant, it can be hard on your morale as well. I mean, in general, I've been really good about that. I've kept up my morale a lot of the time. But, it can be, when you're doing self-care, you've kind of got to keep evaluating your goals, keep evaluating your ambitions, your dreams, keep seeing if you're on track. And sometimes if you're a little bit off track and you're not quite right where you want to be with your career or goals, ambition, dreams, you can kind of give yourself a bit of a hard time. Or other people can, who shouldn't do, but they do sometimes. And, if you've got criticism coming your way, like, say people who love you criticize things even though they care about you. It could be family or close friends, it can be hard. So I just think you've got to remember that you're wonderful as you are. And, you've accomplished so much in your life. Anyone who's listening to this right now, you have accomplished so much, Just breathing and being alive is a lot, to be honest. I mean, I think especially for asexuals, where we, in general, society doesn't seem to recognise us that much. And we can kind of go under the radar a lot. And, when you grow up and you don't know that you're asexual, it can be a huge battle. You literally feel like an alien. Like you really don't belong. I mean, that's why it's so good to be with asexuals, And I would say that as well as part of self-care, if you're asexual, to try and speak to other asexuals online, try and go to a meet-up, try and, like, be around other people who understand you, because it does help. Helps with your morale. It helps with your confidence. It helps to boost your self-worth as well. I mean, you've got to get them innately from yourself. But, to be in an environment where you're understood, when I think for years of your life you can be misunderstood, you know, it's going to be empowering, you know, and being around people who understand you is just so empowering. I was so energized and empowered to be around people who understood me over the asexual meetup, you know. If it was up to me and I had the money, I'd be doing it all the time. Be having like an asexual meetup every month, but I can't because my finances won't allow it, you know. So, and other people obviously have got to pay as well. It's money out for them to come and stay in hotels. So, yeah. And now I'm playing catch up with stuff I need to get done for business wise as well. So I've got stuff to do. Anyway, I think I've talked enough, but I don't know. I agree with you, Michael. I mean, I don't know really why. Well, I guess I do know why sexuals pursue asexuals, but I just think in the great scheme of things that it's ridiculous. A ridiculous notion, ridiculous concept. You know, unless they're prepared to actually go without sex and want a loving, care relationship and not go off with loads of other people, then I don't see the point in them doing that. I think he just wanted the thrill of kissing me because I am a good, you know, from what I was describing, I think that's what he wanted. You know, that's just to his benefit. He's not prepared to add me on Facebook. It says everything, doesn't it? I mean, he did give me his profile, but I couldn't find him, and then I think I did find him, but I wanted him to add me. You know, if he's going to do that, and he didn't. So that speaks volumes, doesn't it, really? Because I like to be discreet. It's like, what you being discreet about? It's not like I'm having an affair with you or something. Unless he's already got a girlfriend. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because I need to go off and have some self-care and get some sleep. If I get some sleep early, I might wake up in the middle of the early morning. Anyway, until next time, embrace your quirky and each other's. I will see you on the next video. Don't forget to take care of yourself and love yourself loads. Give yourself a hug before you go to sleep and give yourself some nice, sweet talk. Night, Michael. Night, Andy. Night, anyone else who's watching this. If you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to do that. Please give this video a thumbs up. Oh, thank you, Andy. Thanks so much. Thanks for the thumbs up as well. I really appreciate the thumbs up. It's great. And thank you, Michael. Thank you, Andy. Really appreciate it. Lots of love to you both. And I will see you on the next video or live stream. Take care. Have a wonderful night. See you. Bye.